From the Joy News Center. This is News at 8.
The Primetime News Bulletin here on Joy News on Multi TV is also available in the whole of Europe via ABN Television in London. A warm welcome to our European viewers as well as those watching live on our YouTube channel. Coming up, new MPP chairman purposes to restructure, rebrand and rejuvenate the party for victory at the 2016 polls. Energy Commission begins destruction of thousands of used refrigerators imported into the country in defiance of a 2010 ban. New Northern Region Minister calls on traditional rulers to see dialogue rather than violence as a tool to resolving differences in the paramountcies. Brongahafo region farmers make desperate plea for tomato traders to patronize their produce. And in business, brokers are beginning to worry about the dwindling fortunes on the Ghana Stock Exchange. There's more business, sports, showbiz and international news. Stay tuned.
News at 8 with Israel Live.
Now, very first story, restructure, rebrand now. That is the main focus of newly elected national chairman of the New Patriotic Party, Paul Afoko. It says modifying the party's operational strategies is the surest way to recapturing power from the NDC in 2016. Paul Afoko and 9 others were elected at the party's delegates conference in Tamale Saturday to manage the affairs of the party for 4 years with the ultimate aim of securing victory for the MPP in the 2016 general elections. In an interview with Adum TV, he said modifying the party's operational strategies is the surest way to recapturing power from the NDC.
Unity no dear, my Chiniganda, all 275.
Uniting the party is my major priority. I've already spoken to Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and also former President John Agyekum Kufuor. And knowing very well they are solidly behind me, I have no worries at all.
Pillars me no dear. Kufuor and Nana Addo. Say one more time, it's important. Let me assure say and Kabum no, a very solidly.
We'll be returning to the story on the MPP electing the new executive. The Northern Regional Minister Alhaji Mohammed Muniru Lumina has called on traditional rulers to use dialogue as a means to resolve differences in their paramountcies. He said development cannot take place in conflict zones, stressing that all inhabitants and traditional rulers in the region will therefore have to ensure that peace and unity will continue to prevail in the region so it can attract investors.
Alhaji Mohammed Muniru Lumina said this when he paid a courtesy call on the overlord of the Gunja land traditional area, Yagonwura Suleimana Tuntumba Bore Esa I, at his palace in Damango on a familiarization tour of paramountcies in the northern region to seek their blessings and guidance as the new minister. He was accompanied on the tour by some district chief executives, members of the Northern Regional Security Council and Northern Regional Executives of the NDC. Alhaji Mohammed Muniru Lumina said traditional kingdoms where conflict and land disputes are rife scare away investors.
Jira, I want to say that if you see me today, it is your own son that you blessed and asked me to go and know the world. I've gone to know the world and I have come back home. And since I've been home, I have to come and report to you that I'm back home, so that I present and submit myself to you, solicit your support, and take more of the blessings from you. I assumed office on the 19th of March, but I said I wasn't going to go into the office until I call on our traditional leaders.
The minister, himself an indigene of Gonjaland from Damango, appealed to the Yagbonwura to intervene in a land dispute between the Moles and Ganges in his paramountcy. The overlord of Gonjaland traditional area, Yagbonwura Sulemana Tuntumba Bore Esa I, appealed to government to establish a teacher training college in his area to help improve education there. He assured the Northern Regional Minister his traditional enclave would give him all the necessary support to move the region forward for the betterment of the people.
Rest assured that Gonja is peace-loving and unity builders, and we in chieftaincy will support your administration in diverse ways, especially preparing the grounds and providing absolute peace for a smooth administration and carrying out of developmental projects to better the laws in the region. Honorable Minister, water is a basic and an essential commodity which human beings cannot do without. The residents of Damango, students in the second cycle schools and beyond who come from far and near, among others, suffer from access to potable water.
Earlier, as part of his familiarization tour, he visited the Gbewa Palace in Yendi and called on the royal regent of Dagbon before moving to other paramountcies in Zapsugu, Bole and Bunkrugu.
So we're staying in the northern region, but back to the MPP's election of new executives to man the affairs or to steer the affairs of the party for the next 4 years. We're joined on the line by Dr. Amakumba. He is the head of political science department at the KNUST to do some analysis on what the positioning of the MPP is now that they have emerged from their conference. Good evening to you, Dr. Amakumba, and thank you for joining us.
Good evening.
All right, so the MPP has just finished conducting the conference and has elected its new set of executives. Do you think they've come out of the conference better prepared and poised for victory in 2016?
Well, I think they come out better prepared and poised. Whether for victory or not, yet to be seen, because the opponent is also aware of what they've done. And so we have to wait a bit to see who is going to take victory. So that one, I will hold my judgment on that one a little bit. But I think they are in a better position than before. That one I agree with.
What puts them in a better position than before?
Well, you've seen how Ghanaian elections have gone. I'm sure they have learned their lessons in it. The Electoral Commissioner kept talking about vigilance, and you send your own people and all of that. And so now they've got younger executives, more hungry. I suppose they'll be more vigilant in terms of making sure that they are not being taken advantage of and all of that. Mobilization, I think they are better prepared this time too. And so all of this put them in a better position than before.
Now, the new chairman is talking about rebranding, rejuvenating the party. Do you think that's what's going to do the trick for them?
Well, that is very, very important, because it's not enough just to galvanize your base of support. You have to bring in those who are sitting on the fence. You have to bring the independent voters too. And so you have to craft the message that is broad-based, not just one message for everyone. So it is a very, very good idea. This is why I say, yes, they are better prepared. Because look at it. Last time around, the NDC had one message, 3 SHS. Now, President Mahama is saying the same thing. Even then, what about those who did not have children of school age like that? Does it mean that you are not appealing to them? And so it's not enough just to have one message. And then the other thing is this. one person does not win elections. It takes the whole team. And so now it looks like they've got it now. All of them are going to work together to make sure that they win. And if it is better for your party to win than for the opponent to win, even if you do not like the flag bearer. And so these two, I think, has been driven home to them. And so all of them are going to work together. And from what they are saying already, that is what I think they have learned from the past.
Now, they came out of the Congress having swept away most of the executives, the incumbent executives. Is that supposed to be sending a message?
Well, yes and no. Yes, because it means that whatever strategy they adopted the last time around did not work. And so now they are going to change things. And so that is in the positive direction. But it does not necessarily mean that everybody should be swept around. Because when it comes to the flag bearer, they have to look at who is popular. And that is not decided by the executive. It has to be decided by gauging the reception of the wider population and also within the party. And so that one, nobody will know until they pick the flag bearer. Whoever that one is, then all of them will have to go behind that person and propel him forward.
Right, thank you very much. You heard Dr. Amwako Ba. He is the head of the Political Science Department at the KNUST, and he was speaking to us about the new dynamics following the MPP's successful National Delegates Conference in Tamale. In other news, the Energy Commission has begun the destruction of thousands of used refrigerators illegally imported into the country in June last year. The units, about 5,000 of them, arrived at the Tema port in defiance of a legislative instrument LI 1932 passed in 2010, which bans the importation of used refrigerators and other electronic gadgets as part of the country's energy conservation drive. According to the Commission, those responsible for the consignment will be prosecuted once they are identified.
Following the passage of the law, a grace period of 2 years was given to allow importers and dealers to readjust their operations, but many of them have continued to import, even after the expiration of the grace period. According to the Energy Commission, the 5,000 refrigerators that were released by the port authorities for destruction were originally concealed in 45 containers classified as personal goods. Deputy Minister of Energy and Petroleum Abu Jinapo explains the essence of the ban.
Indeed, refrigerators and air conditions account for about 60% of the consumption at the domestic level, and we believe that with the usage of new refrigerators, those approved by the Energy Commission, we can halve that consumption. And so if you do the mathematics, this can really impact on the consumption, especially at the domestic level. Quite apart from that, these used refrigerators have chemicals that deplete the ozone. They have environmental consequence, and that is why we are determined to stop the importation of used refrigerators.
Minister for Environment, Science and Innovation Joe Otineje stressed that investigations have already begun to identify the owners of the seized items, who will then be prosecuted.
While the items were coming, they declared them as personal items. That to me is fraud. We want to sound a warning that the days of ignorance are gone, and these days we work together with sector agencies to implement each environmental law, and hopefully together we will contribute to the elimination of climate change impacts on the economy, on our lives.
He added that measures are being put in place to ensure that other entry zones are strictly monitored to stop smuggling of the used refrigerators. The impounded refrigerators were sent to the Afenya dismantling site, where they would further be destroyed and parts sold to scrap dealers.
Now we have two dismantling facilities. We have one at Kwabenya and then the Presan Kwan. The one at Kwabenya deals with the rebate scheme. Those who send in their own old fridges and are giving new ones, the old ones, we take them to Kwabenya. And the ones that are seized by thefts at the ports, because of the law we are enforcing, they bring them to this facility. We make sure that we have a tracking system in place where we track what we bring here. Yeah, through way bills, through tracking numbers. So we know how much you have brought in here at the end of the day. So the issue of some slipping back into the market.
The Energy Commission in September last year introduced a scheme to encourage consumers to turn in their used refrigerators for new ones at a discount. After a pilot project in Accra, the Commission announced in May 2013 that the scheme will be at all parts of the country. Matilda Vamagan for Joy News, Tema.
Participants at the 4-day Peri annual consultative meeting underway at the University of Ghana, Legon, say until experts and practitioners bridge the gap between theory and practical issues on the ground, attaining climate change, disaster risk reduction and management will be really difficult. They say that too many times the people on the ground have no say in what kind of help they need in times of disasters.
Is being held against the backdrop of increasing incidents of disasters such as floods, droughts and earthquakes, which bring untold hardships and suffering to millions each year across the world. Experts from academia are therefore brainstorming on what to do in view of the fact that UN Climate Change Agreement is due to expire in 2015 and there's the need to chart the new way forward. Sina Desai is with the United Nations Development Program.
2015, the current international agreement on disaster risk reduction will come to an end, and countries will come together in Japan in March 2015 to agree on a new agreement that will take us into the next 10, 15, even 30 years, and that will define really what we will have as priorities in terms of disaster risk management, but more importantly then also in terms of sustainable development and climate change.
Nigeria, which in 2012 suffered devastating flooding, is attending this meeting. Ahmedu Bello University Director Edwin Iguisi shares his country's experience.
But what we saw in the big flood that came in 2012 is that the government didn't have sufficient skilled manpower to do the assessment, and again the fund was not available to do the rehabilitation and the reconstruction. The government had to appeal to the international community to come in.
Mozambique is a disaster-prone nation, the scene of the frequent massive floods. Rida Maya is the academic dean of the Technical University of Mozambique.
We never know if the opinion of experts is enough if we don't listen to people. We never know if we listen to people and what they want is within the power system. And we never know if what is planned is what will be achieved and how to measure the impact. We never know.
He says a one-size-fits-all solution to disasters, natural or man-made, is doomed to fail.
The Chebi Government Hospital in the Eastern Region, typical of most public healthcare facilities, is not as adequately equipped as the authorities would want it to be. Most of them, for years, have had to grapple with challenges ranging from lack of enough staff and the accommodation and logistics. What the Chebi Hospital needs the most, however, is a chemistry analyzer for its laboratory. MFA Ewenam Etiamwa Eli has more.
Chebi Government Hospital is one of two district hospitals serving the Chebi and Isachim districts. Per its strategic location along the Accra-Kumasi Highway, it remains the first port of call for especially victims of motor accidents and for residents in the surrounding communities. The chemistry analyzer is just one of the many things the hospital lacks. But the laboratory technician believes it is the one thing that impacts most significantly on healthcare delivery.
When the doctor diagnoses something concerning liver or kidney, now this is clinical diagnosis. Then we do biodiagnostics with the chemistry analyzer. We actually take your sample like blood, take the serum, and then we go and then analyze and see whether really the kidney or the liver is being affected. Now any internal organs, these are the analyzers that you use to actually determine them. And then most of the problems are on the HIV patients because the T cells of the patients are always very low, and it puts pressure on the internal organs, especially the liver and then the kidney, and they need to do all this at least every month.
Hospital authorities say the lack of the analyzer means the patients are referred to nearby private facilities, except they never return for the doctors to complete their diagnosis and treatment.
Okay, it will cost the person not less than 200 Ghana when you go to.
But assuming it were at the government hospital here, how much would you have in charge?
Okay, we have the what you call the health insurance covers it. So we have the this in the list here. We have the insurance that's non-insured. This is price list for insured. And then we have the LFT is 8 cedis, 14 pesos.
Wow.
Yes, very cheap.
The Chebi Government Hospital, as far as authorities can remember, has never operated with a chemistry analyzer. But there are other problems that need to be resolved. Among them, the lack of accommodation for staff, inadequate medical staff and limited space at the morgue. Some health officers posted to the facility never turn up, especially because there are no quarters to house them. A case in point is an ophthalmologist who is yet to take up the post because there was no accommodation when he first reported. The hospital, he says, is having to find a way around the problem.
Fortunately, we have an ophthalmic nurse who is currently in charge of the place, but there are certain cases which are beyond her capability, and therefore we will need the optometrist. Sometimes we want the staff to come, but even when they come, we don't have a place to accommodate them. And there's a labor ward now that is fully furnished, but it's not functioning because we don't have the requisite staff, that's the midwives, to man the place. So the place is nice, very nice for the pregnant women, but it's not being used because we don't have enough staff. If we should open that department to make it operational, then it means that we will have to move the already inadequate staff from other departments to that place, and we cannot afford to do that.
The Deputy Director of Nursing, Madam Mary Yvonne Atipo, is meanwhile urging women in the area to quickly report to the hospital for antenatal care immediately they realize they are pregnant in order to avoid complications. Emefa Ewenam Atiamwa Eli for Joy News.
Well, more news coming up after the break. Don't go away. The Akumadan Tomato Farmers Association is urging government to prevail on fresh tomato traders to choose their produce over that from Burkina Faso. Nestor Kafui Ajuma reports the Brunahafo region farmers are desperate. Without the patronage, they won't be able to recoup money spent on their farms.
Last year, the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, in collaboration with the South Korean government, inaugurated a $2.2 million tomato expansion irrigation project at Akumadan in the Offenso North District. The project was aimed at improving irrigation systems in the Akumadan area in order to ensure all year-round tomato production. The farmers were therefore encouraged to venture into tomato cultivation at the Akumadan irrigation scheme so they could feed the tomato factory at Wenchi. The factory is now defunct, and the tomato farmers say they are doomed. Despite their investments, traders from across the country decide to bypass them and buy from neighboring Burkina Faso.
Misra Ghana by and an impenny for any my tontosi say, Yampaye in Nigeria Couponem, Nabakina Diano, Wamumeki Kakra, and my Nomumra, Akuma Dam, no Mamma Tontos in my end. There's one better my end, Nianso Yenya at the Pebby Free Moa. Nakupoya domono to young quanem, Emma Fidaba to a bit of a yard money, the chain say, Nancy and Yabidia, Abuaya, ma school, in him.
If we Samri could be Iano, or Madaroma, or Moye. It says we are telling me, Burkina Faso, Diano, at Asoho, and Tiasagana by near Bemumpany for, and now Mosua, and Maculia by a Babaya Dam no my and say, or Mutu Monensi form, that's Abri Quedia, or Munia to 4 inches yesterday by Yamudu Akumadan Soa, on Bejinano Mobusay.
Explaining the operations of the Akumadan irrigation scheme, the plant engineer, Amos Bila, said they spend as much as 13,500 Ghana cedis on power. This amount, he stated, is passed on to the farmers, the more reason why they need to be successful in selling their produce. Nesta Kafuya Joma filed this report from the Bonoafo region.
The Eastern region town of Kwewu, just like all Easter holidays, will be the choice destination for many Ghanaians and tourists. The town is famed for being the fun capital during the period. On a recent trip to the town, Niakrofi Smatabe reports the townsfolk are eager to play host again this year, even though they don't appear very optimistic.
The mountainous town of Kwewu in the Eastern region is synonymous with Easter celebrations. The town, which has become even more famous for its hosting of the paragliding festival, receives scores of visitors every year during Easter who participate in the myriad of activities available. But during my visit to the town, there was not much activity. In fact, the various towns on the Kwewu Ridge could pass for any ordinary town minding its own business. But traders like Rose Echaba are hopeful business will pick up in the final days leading to Easter.
Oh, you go home, kakra. Easter ne de eba. I also akabe se 2 weeks no. Na ade tono e hyase eba. Ti dru ho a obi atimba beto ade a ode be ye ne ho na ye de Easter no.
Jaman fast started Tony.
Oh, nyame adom kakra.
Others like this taxi driver though are not so optimistic.
Preparation dey say scan ho. Until me who preparation be a ho yeah. See ya to we there. Obi anya ska ha me be fa de ato me ntima nto ene ma san ma be gina ha.
Je wuto ade kra ye nto ska ni Ghana. Ye bless abe kwati ska ko ade so no. Wo be ko no so no. We ba beton ye muwa o. Ye muwa na gina wi mu sa na wi ala hyew. Na isere be ye aginya me ya na be hwe ye gina wi mu sa ya ble.
Following rumors of condom shortage last year, I asked this chemist if his outfit was preparing for what might be a great sales period.
Sometimes they even bring them to us for free so that we can distribute to those who come and celebrate their Easter. But sometimes you do educate them that if you come and you think you can't be safe or you can't protect yourself or you can't abstain yourself from having sex, then it means you have to use the condom so that you can just get rid of those sickness like syphilis and other things. Yeah.
Have you got condoms, extra condoms?
You see, yeah, I do. Sometimes, you see, yeah, I do.
Vice President of the Kwewu Easter Planning Committee, Oheneba Kofi Amankwa Bosman, however, assures tourists and even Kwewu natives currently outside the town of improved security during the festive period.
There was street jams. Security. Bibia is safe. Ubibia nyira. Na pro you may be by, but no there. Everything has cut. Ye bibia ma antiase adwuma. Obaha sebi ukita panye kura to form one. Because of enyemba bintino, unsabe kan bibia. Ya pese obia mra. Now may enjoy.
So if Kwewu is on your calendar this Easter, do not be afraid to carry through with your plans. In fact, hotel reservation may not be a bother, as hotels such as this one are expanding their facilities to accommodate the hundreds of thousands who will descend on the town. Niakrofi Smatabe, Joy News, Kwewu.
Stay tuned, we'll be back with sports.
Black Stars coach Kwesi Appiah is now Coach Dr. Appiah after he was awarded a doctorate degree in sports psychology by the Day Spring Christian University of Mississippi. This comes as a massive confidence boost ahead of the World Cup in Brazil. At a short ceremony held at the School of Allied Science campus in Accra on Saturday, Black Stars coach Kwesi Appiah was awarded an honorary doctorate degree by the Day Spring Christian University of Mississippi. Coach Appiah still living the utopia of becoming the first indigent tactician to lead the national team to qualify for the FIFA World Cup as the new recipient of the Doctor of Psychology in Sports degree. The former Ghana captain was one of the 10 top Ghanaians, including Speaker of Parliament Honorable Edward Do Ajaho, who were all honored for various contributions to the development of this country. To be thus christened Dr. James Kwesi Appiah, a citation was read celebrating Coach Appiah for his impressive results he has churned out as Ghana coach and for qualifying the national team to the 2014 FIFA World Cup. Other personalities awarded by the American University were Bishop Anoyeboa, Samuel Vindex, Rex Asarina, Kwame Nyameche, Felix Nyakopong, William Panford, as well as Gideon Amenyedo. All right, so you have to make sure you add that accolade. He's now a doctor, just in case you're talking about him. Let's still talk about the Black Stars, and Private Consult will organize an exhibition match between the Black Stars and a local select side, alongside massive entertainment at Accra Stadium on May 23 to offer the national team an opportunity to bid farewell to fans before jetting out of the country for intense camping ahead of the World Cup. Fans will choose the local select side by texting as many times their preferred team players and technical team on the short code 1413 across networks. Opare Otu is CEO of Private Consult and explained the motive behind the event.
We are giving the opportunity to the fans, the supporters, that we believe that we are coaches, to select a local side that will play against the Black Stars. This time around, the supporters out there, they are going to become the coaches. We are not picking any coach. The supporters, it is your responsibility to pick the players. Then, of course, it is also your responsibility to pick the coach who will manage the select side. There will be a short code that you have to send the player's name, then the short code. So basically, that is the reason why we're putting this program together, so that the Black Stars can say thank you to the people of Ghana. We are going to Brazil and we need you to support us. You can't do, we are not doing this alone. We want to add entertainment to it. So we've engaged Ochiame Kwame.
So we look ahead to what will happen on that day when we say or bid farewell to the Black Stars. Now let's talk about women football. Hazaka's ladies and Fabulous ladies have made the final of the National Women's Soccer League for the second year running after both recorded victories on the final day to top their respective zones. Hazaka's ladies and Fabulous ladies both stroll into another women's championship final following victories on the final day of the league. The two sides who competed for last season's title topped their zones as the competition came to a close over the weekend. Fabulous, losing finalists in the previous season, started the weekend in second place, defeating Ampem Dakwa 4-0 as they profited from Prison Ladies' loss to overhaul them to the top on the last day. A brace apiece by Anita Mankwa and Agnes Edrako helped Fabulous to secure another date with Hazakis. A double by Samira Suleimana followed by Messi Edubuahen's goal helped preserve Hazakis' lead as they defeated Soccer Intellectual 3-0. And the win saw Please Ladies' challenge fade away despite winning 2-1 against bottom side Ayola. Ayola bowed out with no point gained and the highest number of goals conceded, 41 in 10 outings. Well, that's your sports tonight. There's a lot more on your way. Go.
News with me, Abigail Adumakuenchi. Now, first off, brokers have expressed worry over the declining returns on the stock market, a development they attribute to the consistent fall in the value of the cedi coupled with rising inflation. The current downturn, according to them, is making the market less attractive. Stock Exchange Composite Index restarted the week with about 10%, closed with 8.76%. The index has seen a huge slump from the 2013 year-to-date figure of 46.88% to 8.76%. The financial index of the market also fell from 51% to 12.57%. Stock watchers say the market is only a reflection of the instability in the macroeconomic indicators.
Basic fundamentals of the Ghanaian economy is not that right, and if you have your currency depreciating up to about 22% and that is to the dollar, and you have your inflation also hitting 14.50, that is consistently increasing from somewhere last year May also up to now. So then you see that the attention on the stock market is being shifted, because if you come to the stock market, it's a little bit risky. So investors normally don't want to go there when the economy is not that right. And as we say, it's the environment in the economy that supports the listed equities to keep the returns that investors are looking for. So in this case, Ghana, we are not having the best of macroeconomic indicators. That's why we are seeing these downturns on the market.
Although a capital market integration is underway, he adds that it will take some time to impact positively on the local bourse.
They've started the integration, but they are now looking for links in the various countries. So, for instance, GN Investment, that is the brokerage wing of Gold Coast Gold Coast Fund Management, they are now looking for brokers in Nigeria, brokers on the BVRM that they will link up with. So that we need to create this link, then start marketing the Nigerian equities to our clients. Then once they show the interest in it, then we will be able to get buys and sells on the Nigerian market, and in so doing they will also market the Ghanaian market to their clients over there, and they will also, some of them will be interested, and they will also start to increase their buys and sells on the Ghana stock market. So until maybe some time to come, maybe say 2 to about 3 months, or let's give ourselves to that period, then we will see the integration of the West African market having impact on any of the stock market that is involved in this integration.
The Ghana stock market meanwhile traded a volume of 2,571,333 shares over the week, with a total value of 2,141,256.80 Ghana cedis. Abigail Adamakunchi for Joy News.
Away from the stock market to some issues on growth, a macroeconomist and dean of students at the Methodist University College has asked government to focus on reviving the agriculture sector to boost the economy. He says that boosting the sector will boost the country's GDP with a ripple effect on the other sectors of the economy, especially because it remains a major employer of the populace.
Macroeconomist Charles Opoku, in a reaction to the latest GDP statistics, indicated that agricultural sector grew the least as compared to service and industry because the policies put in place by government did not yield the expected results.
Deciding on doing something is one thing, and actually doing it is the other side of the coin. Now, even whilst you have even decided to do it, how do you go about it? Do you actually supervise the working of the policy? And that is the problem. So you can decide to put a policy in place. For example, the government decided that we will bring fertilizer, for example, at a cheaper cost. We will bring tractors, subsidize them, so that it will get to the farming community, and then we'll be able to improve the agricultural sector. What happened? What we realized was that, yes, the subsidy was done, but it ended up in the pockets of individuals who are not even involved in the agricultural sector.
Even with about 70% of the population in the agricultural sector, he says the country is unable to produce enough compared to countries which have a lot fewer of the population in that sector.
The research was about growing the economy, achieving a higher GDP growth rate, which sector to lead. And our finding, based on the data available, showed that if we want to have a higher growth in GDP, then the agricultural sector should lead. So it means that as a country, we have the strength in the agricultural sector. Therefore, we should depend on that to start the growth process, so that when it is able to move up, we are able to improve that sector. We are able to become efficient in the agricultural sector. Then, like I said, we will have the raw materials to feed industry. We'll be able to take or siphon some of the labor force from the agricultural sector into the industrial sector, and the agricultural people will not be affected, which means that the agricultural sector will continue to grow because it has become so efficient. So if we have not been able to do that, then I'm sorry, we will not be able to say that we are growing the industrial sector. It will not work.
And that'll be all for business. My name is Abigail Adumakwenchi. Do keep abreast with business news on myjoyonline.com. International news is up next.
From cultural troops and some churches in Ghana who patronize drums, its patronage these days seems rather low. Is it that we're allowing technology to take over the use of our traditional drums too? Showbiz attempts to find an answer.
Known for its unique sound produced in music, drums have over the years served as one of the major musical instruments of time in our everyday music. From the dundos all the way to the talking drums, they have all been a great asset to the industry. The question is, how well do we patronize these drums? These drums are made here and would rather be shipped to other countries because of its low patronage in the country.
These days, drum business has gone down. So comparing to 3-4 years back, it has gone down totally. And now we are trying, our people with the culture, we are enjoying it, but people always want to listen down to also put their self into it. Because mostly we are trying to forget our culture, but you know, we should know our root.
According to these craftsmen at the Art Center here in Accra, whose specialty is drum making, drums provide strong beat that keeps the rhythm on. They are therefore encouraging Ghanaian musicians to do more live music, which will urge them to patronize these drums.
Nowadays, Ghanaian music, if you want to make music and make money, you have to come back to your root. Because now it's computer world. So if you are a musician, you are just popular for nothing, but live show is the culture. So if they want, they should come back to their root, and then we all join hands together and build the root up.
It is said that drums are the prehistoric musical instruments without which music sounds very empty. Hence, industry players who are poised to change and help the music industry grow could consider refining their live band prowess.
That'll be it for showbiz.
Showbiz was
bulletin. Before we go, the quick run through our top stories. New MPP chairman purposes to restructure, rebrand and rejuvenate the party for victory at the 2016 polls. Energy Commission begins destruction of thousands of used refrigerators imported into the country in defiance of 2010 ban. New Northern Region Minister calls on traditional rulers to see dialogue rather than violence as the tool to resolving differences in their paramountcies. Rongahafo region farmers make desperate plea for tomato traders to patronize their produce. In business, brokers are beginning to worry about the dwindling fortunes on the Ghana Stock Exchange. That'll be all. My name is Israel. Have a good evening.